How was pre-Columbian symbolism hidden in colonial Latin American Christian art? Imagine walking through a church in Latin America during the colonial period and seeing stunning artwork. At first glance, it looks purely Christian, but there's more beneath the surface. During the colonial era, indigenous artists and communities found clever ways to keep their native symbols alive within Christian art. This was partly because the colonial church wanted to spread Christianity but also needed to connect with local traditions. They used native motifs in ways that seemed to fit Christian themes but still carried native meanings. For example, indigenous artists would include symbols like intertwined plant patterns or animals that had spiritual importance in native cultures. These designs appeared on church walls, altarpieces, and even on religious objects. Sometimes they painted frescoes in black and white, mimicking European styles, but embedded native symbols within the scenes. Artists also used materials like gold, feathers, and shells, which were sacred in native traditions, in Christian artwork such as monstrances and altarpieces. Native sun symbols, important in Inca religion, were often incorporated into gold religious objects used in Catholic rituals. Portraits of native leaders were painted in European styles but included native symbols or clothing, subtly blending indigenous identity with colonial authority. Even sacred objects from native cultures were repurposed or transformed into Christian items, like using solar motifs in gold monstrances. This blending of styles and symbols created a layered message. It allowed native cultures to keep parts of their spiritual worldview alive while outwardly conforming to Christian norms. This artistic hybrid shows how indigenous communities maintained their cultural identity despite colonial pressures. It also highlights their resilience and ability to adapt, turning their symbols into a form of quiet resistance. Understanding these hidden symbols helps us see how Latin American culture grew from a mix of native and European influences. It reveals a story of survival, creativity, and cultural continuity that still influences Latin American art today. So, next time you see colonial religious art, remember that behind the scenes, there's often a secret language of native symbols woven into the Christian narrative.